Hello and welcome to Movie Mandates. I'm Kelly.
And I'm Andrew.
And this is the show where my brother and I force each other to watch a movie based on a specific monthly theme. It is November, Need for Feed. So, on our previous episode, we watched my brother's pick, Mostly Marta. But today, we are going to talk about my mandated movie from 2014, Chef. But before we get to that, it is only fair that since I chose the movie, my brother gets to challenge me in a little segment we call Trivial Trivia.
Okay, so today's trivial trivia question is probably a little bit close to, is actually a trivia question.
Oh, hey, shoot, got to turn the brain on.
So, all right. And it's thematically appropriate. Thematically appropriate trivia question for Need for Feed Month. So, Kelly, what is nougat?
I am nougat. I am laughing because I love
I know what you're laughing at.
Thing.
And you can go ahead.
Dreamy caramel. I am nougat. So, if I were to guess, is nougat, in my head, it's just like you know how they make simple syrup for like cocktails? It's like water and sugar and they boil it together and boil it down so it's like a little
so thick. It's syrup.
Syrupy sugarness.
Yeah,
and they
put it in sugar, you make syrup. Okay.
Yeah. And so they use that for cocktails and whatnot. And I would just assume that nougat is that same sort of like flavored-y, sugary stuff, just amalgamated differently because it has to become not a syrupy substance and or a like hard as glass type substance like melted sugar that then gets cool.
You're in the neighborhood for what the base is. Sugar, yes, yeah. It's a confection.
I went out on a limb with that one.
Right. So yeah, it's sugar, but what is the main things that are part of that makes nougat?
That makes nougat. Is it
it's usually whipped egg whites too to make it an aerated sugar candy.
Okay, that
there's
sense.
There's actually
flavor. There's an actual thing in there that makes it that thing.
Yeah.
Is it actually caramel?
No.
Oh.
Although you could put caramel or honey or anything in it, but it's something that you would, there are many different varieties and you would chop them up and throw them into your aerated sugar mixture and then solidify it into your little nougat pieces.
Is it a cashew?
It could be.
Is it a legume?
I would hope not.
So is it cheese? No, it's a cashew. It could be. So it's just a nut, like a tree.
Nuts.
Like
it's nuts.
What? Really? Nougat is nuts?
Yeah. It's chopped nuts like pistachios and cashews, almonds, really anything. I also read. I've never seen nougat do this, but I've also read it could also be candied fruit. So like a fruit cake. They do the candied fruit from the fruit cake. I've never seen nougat do that. I've only ever seen chopped nuts, but so when you're eating nougat candies, it's usually a combination of it's nut paste in some type of aerated sugar. Oh my god,
that makes so much sense because like paydays, it's like just a nougat covered with peanuts, but it all kind of tastes the same. Well, there's a little bit of caramel in there, but like it all kind of tastes the same.
A lot of candy bars will do that. They'll just have some type of nougat center covered in chocolate and caramel sometimes. So yeah.
What an interesting thing, because that's like, I mean, you speculate on peanut allergies and all of that. Like we must have been killing kids from the go.
Are peanut allergies specifically peanuts or like nuts in general? I don't know.
There's tree nut allergies.
That's true. And apparently I'm slightly allergic to hazelnuts because I tried Nutella a few months ago and my throat went, I went, that's not good.
He can't have almonds. And which is fine because then I buy some really I buy like little trail mixy mixes, and I'm like, well, more for me. I like a
Dark
good
chocolate covered almonds rolled in cinnamon and sugar. And they're not healthy anymore.
No, they're
There's
not.
protein in there somewhere.
Yeah, but I'm also not one of those 10 almond, like even on my I've been on a diet since the day I was born, and through all of them, they're always like, have like 10 almonds to stave off the hunger. If you ever get to that really, and I'm like,
but I'm
10
not
almonds?
satisfied with
10. Well, not just the minute, that's just opening a floodgate. Like that's
that would be like having 10 pieces of popcorn.
Yeah, it's I might as well just not have another cup of water, which honestly you should do. And something that I argue with the kids about at night when they're like, I'm hungry.
Would
and I'm
you
like,
like
no,
a
you're
spoonful of ice cream? It's like, you better give me more than a damn spoonful.
And then how long has to go between each spoonful for it to be like a new, this is just a spoonful, not a continuation of the last spoonful. I will find that exact timing and I will eat a carton a day.
Yeah. See, that's how they get you with the cookies, and it's the serving sizes. It's like, 160 calories. That's not too bad for cookies. And then you look, it's like 2 cookies. It's like, oh,
yeah.
It's serving size 2. It's like, yeah, I ain't stopping at 2. I'm like, serving size. Well, the box, the box of cookies. I'm gonna eat all of them. That is the serving size.
They should have like serving what is it? The health of the FDA or whoever does it. Who is the people who tell you
Food and Drug Admin? I guess.
Yeah, I think it is, right? I don't know. Anyways, serving size, and it's like reality serving size. Like they just
recommended serving. Yeah, well, because nutritional serving size, actual serving size. Who are we kidding? Serving size.
I applaud. Who is it? Halo Top, I think, is there's an ice cream brand. I think it's called Halo Top. And they actually have a servings or calories per pint.
Yeah, the pint. You're going to eat the whole thing. You ain't putting the lid on and putting it back in the fridge. We know this.
Like when you get those, yeah, exactly. When you get those 20-ounce bottles of soda, or even the 16-ounce bottles of soda, it's 2 servings in there. And I'm like, you can't just cap a soda. It has lost the structural integrity of soda. Yeah. It's no longer.
If you don't want me to drink an entire liter, don't sell it in a liter.
Sell it in a liter.
Because once it's open, I have to drink the whole thing. It's the right thing to do for the environment.
It would be wasteful of my money if I were not to. Exactly. So there you go. And the fact that we're just talking about food is quite on brand. Just go straight into it.
Yep.
It was so funny. So starting this movie.
This is your first time seeing it? Had you seen this before?
I had not seen this before. No. So this was my first time seeing it. And I started the movie, and in the just opening sequence, as he's like the opening of the movie is him preparing meals, or he's preparing a new menu. But
he's prepping the kitchen for the day.
He's prepping the kitchen, but it's a beautiful, there's chopping, and there's aromatic, yes, this is fresh, and it's very fun, and like the sizzles and the smokiness and like the glaze of the butter and the crackle and all this. And it was just very funny because watching 2 movies like this back to back, I remember when we
you mean mostly Marta and
yes,
this one? Okay.
Yes. So I remember when we discussed this theme, and it at the onset of the discussion, it was like, are there movies about food? Like, what the hell? Is there? I mean, we're gonna have to stretch for a movie about food, but these were you're gonna salivate during this movie. There's gonna be some you're gonna make, and another more sexy cooking in this movie.
Yeah.
So it's apparently there you go. It's apparently cooking does it for some people.
Those are good noodles. I
mean, I'm not gonna lie. I would love to have a good, I do have good meals. He is a good cook, but it's just the cleanup. There is, I mean, that is a lot. And he's doing this in apartments and stuff. Like,
You know, that was kind of the fun thing in the last one, our last movie, mostly Marta, where after Mario and the kid create the
yeah,
big Italian floor
feast.
picnic,
Yeah.
she walks into the kitchen. It's like, oh my god, it's just a disaster
Yes.
area. It's like, yeah,
Yes.
that's what happens.
Yes. Because you need every single ingredient out and all. It's, so I'm like, there's a reason why
Is
kitchens
there
at
a
restaurants
pan
are
you
so
didn't
big.
use?
So yeah, it was just at the start of it, and I was like, look at me, I understood the assignment too. This is actually going to be great. And this movie reminded me of, and this is going to sound bad, but this is like Adam Sandler. Don't like him, but whenever he does a movie, it's like one of those him
Seems to
just
be a
grabbing.
nice guy though.
Okay, that's what I find so weird. And I again,
Like, I don't give a damn about the majority of his filmography, although I have enjoyed several of his movies. But from what I hear, he's a genuinely sweet dude.
I have heard
Good on
that
him.
too, and it's so weird because I'm like, I I really don't like your personality in movies. And it's
Yeah,
so weird that you would
the Adam
choose to
Sandler
be,
character for
yeah,
movie.
it's
Yeah, I
like,
don't like it either.
I'm like, I don't understand it. But anyways, this is not about him. I don't even now
Yes.
remember where I was going with oh, but like when he does movies, it's literally like he calls his friends and they do movies.
Mm-hmm.
And then this one, I was like, well, that's cute. Literally, he's just like, hey, Robert Downey Jr., you want to come for a day, shave your face? Weird seeing him like super clean shaven, but like it really was just like, hey, my friends and John Leguizamo, who wouldn't want John Leguizamo? Every time he's in a movie, it makes me happy.
John Leguizamo should be in a Marvel movie because we've got three. We've got John Favreau and Robert Downey Jr., of course, but also Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah,
So that's three in this movie.
exactly.
Oh, Bobby
Cannavale.
Cannavale. Yeah, he plays the new husband of Ant-Man,
Yes, he
or
does.
Ant-Man's ex-wife's
Scott's. Yeah,
Judy Greer's husband.
Yes.
That's four.
That's four. So yeah, it's
At
just
least.
his buddies.
Put
But like,
John
yeah,
Leguizamo in the Marvel movies.
for the love. And then Dustin Hoffman's there, and you're like, hey, like what's going on? And like that. Oh my. Okay, so setting the movie up for anyone who hasn't watched it with us. Jon Favreau wrote, directed, and starred. I was getting my bearings. I wasn't looking at anything. I was focusing on how I wanted to begin the sentence. He wrote, he directed, and he starred in, and ostensibly probably had a big hand in casting this movie. It's cute. He plays a chef, hence the title, who is having a creative rut. Isn't that what he calls it? I think.
A forced rut, but yeah.
Yes, a forced creative rut because his the restaurant in which he cooks is owned by a fuddy-duddy who's like, this is the menu. Why change the menu? It's worked for years. It's gonna, we haven't gone under, so why change things?
Right.
Yeah. So he's in a creative thing, and
he's creatively unfulfilled because he
There you
can't
go.
be creative. He has to cook the same menu day in, day out.
Yep.
He's not allowed to improvise. He's not allowed to add anything or take anything off of the menu, and it's just driving him nuts.
Yeah. So it comes to a head, and he walks out of his kitchen. And how it comes to a head is because a very well-respected food critic is coming into the restaurant, and old fuddy-duddy Hoffman is like, you do not get to make your creative stuff for this guy. He came to my restaurant. My restaurant serves this food. He needs to come and review the restaurant on the food, not on, you hotshot chef, which is, I don't know enough about the culinary world. But if I were to go to, like, I'm not on Dustin Hoffman's side in this because obviously Jon Favreau's character is the, protagonist, and you want him to succeed and you feel bad for him in the situation because you know him. But basically he wants to change a menu for the critic.
Yeah,
When
they've got a critic coming, so he's like, all right, we're gonna cook some special stuff for this guy. And
when
Dustin Hoffman's like, no, you cook the menu.
and I don't disagree, and here's why. Like, I feel bad for Jon Favreau, but like, you can't cook something different for a reviewer and then go back to an old menu, unless
Correct.
I guess his
Like,
idea
what
was
if
I
Oliver
want to
Platt,
change everything.
the food blogger, the critic,
Right.
if he comes and he writes this glowing review for a menu that the restaurant doesn't even serve,
Exactly.
that so yeah, Dustin Hoffman's character is not. He is, number one, it's his restaurant. It is his call. Although be careful arguing with cooks. They got a lot of knives.
Right? And like, they're probably really quick and fast. Like, you'd be cut in half before you realize they threw it at you.
But when Jon Favreau inadvertently puts the Oliver Platt on blast on Twitter,
yes,
and it says, "Hey, you wouldn't know a good meal if it sat on your head. Come back here and
I have an all new menu
for you."
That one, Dustin Hoffman's wrong.
Now that serving him the exact same thing twice in a row, especially since he didn't like it the first time, that is a really dumb move. So yeah,
that one I think he's wrong, because if you read the Twitter, he said come back for an all new menu. Mm-hmm. So those people are there.
It's like, wait, this guy wrote a crappy review and you want to serve him the exact same thing after I just said I'll serve you something different that you might like? Yeah. Wow, that's bad.
Yeah. So that one was bad. But what are you going to do? We needed to get him upset. So he storms out, because this is the second time that Dustin Hoffman says, cook a Scottish egg.
Yeah, he quits.
Yeah, he quits. And Bobby Cannavale, whose name I'm positive I'm always saying wrong, but
it's not.
I dare him to call me and pronounce it into my ear so I can get it better. So, by all means, sir,
drop on by. I'll
just knock on the door and be like, "It is pronounced this," and walk away, and I'll be like, "Good enough for me." That's now I'll know. And then Cillian Murphy can come right up behind him and let me know. Mm-hmm. The point is, he, being Jon Favreau, is also a father. This is like the B plot, if you will. And he has a son who he and Sofia Vergara have gotten a divorce. The son is 10 in this movie, I think they say.
Something, yeah.
And he's a Disneyland dad. He is 100% like the dad that when you're with your kid, all you're going to do is show them like a good time, like amusement, good time. Like you're someone else.
I'm going to take you to the movies. I'm going to take you to a theme park.
I'm going to spend money on you in order for you. I'm going to buy your love. That's basically it. And I get it. We had that. This one was that way for a minute before I was like, you better not be.
When the kids like, I like movies, I like carnivals and stuff, but even Bobby carnivals. But I just want to hang out with you and talk and
like figure out stuff and like just be like sometimes kids just want to be like, yo, calm down, not mine, but whatever. And there were times that there was one parenting moment. There's actually only like one parenting moment in the movie, but I disagreed with it so much. I was like, this is not how we watched it and I went, that is not how I would handle that situation. But that's just me.
You chopped off the tip of your finger. I'm sure it's fine. You want to keep going? Great. Actually, he burns his finger, but
he burned his finger. So after he leaves, he embarks on a journey to Florida, Miami.
Okay, we're actually skipping over
things. Okay, great.
One thing that I want to address, because it's the part of the movie that if you've seen a movie, there's not going to be any surprises in this film. It's
okay. That's fine. That's very fine. Yes.
This movie goes and does exactly what you predict it's going to be if you've ever seen movies before, and that's fine because it charms the whole way through. However, it did not do what I was expecting once, and here it is. So Critic comes to the restaurant. They serve the regular menu at the behest of the owner. The critic trashes it, and he feels bad about it. So he calls him out on Twitter and says, "I'll cook you a new menu, asshole."
Right. Yes.
And then Dustin Hoffman, the owner, says, "No, we're going to cook the exact same thing. We cooked the menu," and so he quits. And then he goes home to his apartment and he starts making what he was going to make in the first place. And there's this well-edited intercut scene between Jon Favreau making the meal that he should have been making in the first place, and Oliver Platt, the food critic, laughing to himself at the restaurant because they're serving him the same damn thing.
Right.
And it's like, oh, okay, I know where this is going. Because he even calls up Scarlett Johansson, who's his weed buddy, who is the host person.
I think she's a hostess sommelier. I think she's both. Because he said talk to her about wine pairings and stuff. Okay. So my guess is that she also has a little bit of that going on.
Cool. So he's like on the phone with her. He's like, "Is he there?" It's like, "What course is he on?" It's like the
I'm
lava
so glad
like,
you're bringing
hold him there. And I'm like, okay. So he's going to bring a doggy bag and he's going to go like, "Look, I know that they're serving you the same shit.
This is what I meant.
Got fired / quit. This is what you should have been eating." That is not what happens.
No.
Even though they spend 5 minutes showing him making all that stuff, I guess he just leaves it at home and then goes to the restaurant and curses out Oliver Platt.
Yeah, I thought, okay, so I am happy that you brought that up, and you're right.
Granted, we might not have had a movie if he actually did that,
but I will agree with you because I 100% thought that that's where it was going, and I just thought it was going to be, because he was making it, and all I could think, I'm like, why is he making it? And I'm like, he's going to invite him over. He's going to bring him over, and then when he called, so that's at first what I thought, is that he's going to bring him over. And then when he called Scarlett Johansson and said, "I'm pulling in," I was like, oh, he's bringing it there. And then when he didn't come in holding anything, I was still like, oh, he's going to take him. He left it in the kitchen
or something. Okay.
Yeah, he's going to take him
to feed him. Yeah.
Or like it's going to bring him out to the car. Maybe he has a friend out there, like, setting it up. John Leguizamo or someone. Yeah. I was still 100% like through 3 different iterations of, oh, it didn't go that way, but it's still going to happen. Oh, it didn't go that way, but it's still going to happen. And then when it never happened, they move on in this movie so quickly from things sometimes. Like the whole getting the food truck, cleaning the food truck, and selling your first little bit of stuff out of the food truck was just an afternoon. So it's like things in this movie sometimes go so quickly that by the time that moment ended, 14 more things happened within a 5-minute period. I had moved on from it, and it's so weird.
No fat on this movie, even though it's pushing 2 hours.
2 hours, yeah. It is quite interesting. That one moment, but yeah, no, you're right. It's a very charming movie. He gets his food truck in Miami from his ex-wife's ex-husband, which you hear that she has an ex-husband earlier when he says, "I don't want charity from you or your ex-husband." And I'm like, is he talking about himself in the third person? It was a weird way. I was like, wait, was she it was a weird, because he had never been mentioned, and he wasn't even mentioned in that conversation either. I don't think. Oh, I guess it was because they were talking about the food truck. So I guess you're supposed to hold on to that little nugget till later. But it is a strange thing. And Robert Downey Jr.'s character is hilarious for the 1 day of work. He probably did good on him. It was like I was dying. Yeah. So he gets a food truck from Sofia Vergara's ex-husband, who has a lot of money. And
does the movie ever clarify what she does for a living?
I think she is, she's got to be, she's an event planner of some sort. So she talks about hiring him for all of her events. and she has a publicist, or she knows it. So
she at least knows a publicist.
She
right?
knows a publicist, so maybe she like throws events for.
No, she does very well for herself, whatever the hell she does.
She does very well for herself. Whatever she does, it has to do with having events and a publicist.
All right.
And I do events. I don't have a publicist, so I apparently took the lesser track. But and the publicist is Amy Sedaris.
A very tan Amy Sedaris.
Did you see?
Which I think is the joke. I think she's just supposed to be Hollywood fake tanned.
Yes. What is the movie with train wreck? Train wreck? Question mark? The one with I want to say, well, John Cena's in it, but
Amy
it's not.
Sedaris.
No, it's not. It has a girl. She's a comedian. She has long hair. That's blonde. She's had a baby recently. She's always making fun of herself. Amy Schumer. There it is.
Oh, okay.
Trainwreck with Amy Schumer. And in it, Tilda Swinton plays, I know, love her, plays Amy Schumer's boss. Nearly unrecognizable because they do a big old tan on her, Tilda Swinton. And it's like that and they do a blowout of her hair. It's the crazy, like, it's so funny because
speaking of which, I just watched 3,000 Years of Longing the other day. So
isn't it? Did you like it?
Yes.
I know we're not talking about
it didn't, for me, it didn't quite, I didn't realize it was essentially an anthology film. And I love me my anthology films. It didn't quite stick the landing for me. I found the ending story the least engaging or interesting of the 4 or 5, but overall I really liked it.
It's not unlike a lot of things.
I found it completely just captivating for the 80 for the first like hour and 20 minutes, and the last bit I wasn't as into, but
I can understand that. But it's captivating, very much so. She's fantastic. And I know we're going to go off on a tangent. I swear this is the last thing I'll say about the movie, but the thing I loved so much in that movie about Tilda Swinton.
Shirtless Idris Elba.
I mean, if you must.
I mean, yeah.
If you must. And make him like 7 foot tall if you must. She is so well known for having everything going on with her look, every part, and I think she is a tremendously talented individual. I think she's gorgeous and talented, and I think that she transforms all the time. But like, she has, if you just think of Tilda Swinton characters, there is a costume and a makeup palette and a definite wig. I mean, it's a look. And she has nothing to hide behind in this movie, 3,000 Years of Longing. If for those of you who didn't hear at the beginning, she has a hair towel and a bathrobe. There is nothing to hide behind. And she's brilliant. And it's stunning. So Jon Favreau, yes. So Jon Favreau and his son are in Miami. Well,
I think it's also important to point out that Sophie
Vergara,
Sophia,
I love in this movie.
Oh yeah, she's great. She, as an ex-wife, is still a cheerleader for Jon Favreau. She wants him to do well and be happy and not miss out on raising their son.
You can tell that it's one of those divorces that was just not for lack of trying kind of thing.
It's not working, but I don't dislike you. Right. She recognizes that he's creatively unfulfilled and is going nowhere in his current position, and is constantly like, hey, maybe you could do this, or maybe do. And she had brought up the food truck before, and now that
he doesn't have many other prospects.
She's like, okay, well, since you're not doing anything, why don't you come with me and the boy out to Florida, and we'll hang out with my dad, and I've got some events and stuff to do out there, and you and him can wander around somewhere and do stuff. And so we'll go to a club where my dad's singing and da 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 da. And she's like, since you're, and so he's like, okay,
Yeah.
and they're out there, and she's like, I mean, since you're out here, you could go look at the food truck. I mean, if you want.
Call my ex-husband.
And he's like, is that why you brought me? She's like, yeah. And
Yeah.
so he gets the food truck and he thinks about it. And he's like, okay, you know what? This could be good. And it's like, and his son doesn't want his dad to just take him on trips. He's like, I want to hang out with you and spend time with you and share passions of stuff. And for Jon Favreau, it's food. So uh, what the movie
Percy.
Percy's
Who names their child Percy?
Um,
Sorry, apparently these two did.
The Jackson family, Percy Jackson, and the.
Oh, I was with you.
I'm actually amazed I actually came up with that quick enough to make that a joke. So he's like, okay, how about this? Boy and I will drive the food truck back from Florida to California, and over because he's on summer break.
Right.
And mom's like, absolutely, you do that, and you do the bonding thing. It'll be great.
I love how you're like, let's do the bonding thing with your hands.
Yep.
We're doing the bonding thing. Yeah, no, they are doing the bonding thing. And it's really cute. And the son is super like every 10-year-old. He knows the internet and social media, and like he's marketing them because he knows how to tweet. And
he's taking pictures and little short videos, and he's geotagging everything. So they end up in New Orleans, and Jon Favreau takes the kid to go get some beignets
from Cafe du Monde.
Yeah, and they come back, and there's a huge crowd, and it's like, how the hell did people find it? It's like, when we got here, I took a picture and geotagged it, and it's like, what is that? It's like, I've been doing this the whole time.
Yeah, it's so true. Yeah.
I set you up in Instagram.
It's brilliant though, because
it's lovely.
It's because and I'm like, I felt so seen because I don't know what geotagging is.
It's exactly what it sounds like, but
location tagging clues.
Yeah,
gotcha.
And
people are like, just drop a pin where you are, and I'm like, I don't understand.
Yeah. Now, one thing that we skipped over is
John Leguizamo.
John Leguizamo. So when they John Leguizamo is the one of the sous chefs or something in the
he's a line
restaurant.
cook, but
he's a line cook. He gets promoted to sous chef.
Yeah.
And then he quits so that he can fly out to Florida and help Jon Favreau with his food truck. So you can tell that Jon Favreau wrote this movie that he's directing and starring in, because his character is the greatest cook who has ever cooked a meal, tragically misunderstood, still adored by his ex-wife, who is Sofia Vergara, and has a very close pot-oriented relationship with Scarlett Johansson. And John Leguizamo will quit his job and fly across the country for no pay for you, man. It's how awesome you are.
It's so true. It's so true in that I thought when he showed up, he's like, you sounded so happy on the phone. Oh yeah, and everything in this movie is like, I just want you to be happy. And like, I get it, because like it is a true statement. And when you love, like, you do genuinely want the people that you love to be happy. It's a genuine thing. When you're a child, you don't realize that that's what you want, but like as an adult, it's like, genuinely, I just want you to find your bliss, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like, it was just and we were actually talking about that.
And then
it just all just works out. Just everything.
Hey, I want to buy your food truck because it's so amazing. Oh, okay. It's for a lot of money. And
I've been sending spies to just continue to bring me your food and
exactly. And you're just so such an amazing chef and such an awesome person, a wonderful father, and I just got to marry you again.
Yeah.
Okay, John. Jesus.
I
enjoyed the movie, but dude,
I will agree with all of that, because it's a great little moment of filmdom that you're like, oh, that was cute, and then it doesn't mean much. I enjoyed it. It's over, but it was fun while it happened. But it is such a sugar cookie movie in that.
Yes.
it's just so, and everything is beautiful, and like
But while it
everything
may
is
be a sugar cookie movie, do you want a Cuban sandwich?
well, but no. Why would I ever want to eat a pig?
Oh, well, because of the meat. Yeah, okay,
But
fair
no,
enough.
but the thing is that I also and that was the parenting moment that I'll talk about in a moment, was the Cuban sandwich. I I don't the Cuban no. So for me, you know what I really wanted was hash browns.
What was it? The cornstarch scene? Oh no, that's Hush Puppies that he's talking about.
What's that scene?
So they're driving through Florida, through swampy Florida, or maybe they're in Louisiana, but somewhere that's really high humidity. And John Leguizamo's driving.
Because
He's
I
like,
was
okay.
wondering, I'm like, is he gonna pee in a bottle? That was
I
like,
thought that the first time I saw the movie, thought the same thing, but no, he just dumps cornstarch down the front of his pants, and Percy is like, Dad, John is or whatever the character's name is, he's just putting cornstarch on his balls. He's like, you putting cornstarch in balls? He goes, yeah, I have some. It's like, you want some of this, kid? It's like, and the idea is, it's like, because you're just sweating and your sweaty scrotum is rubbing against your sweaty thighs, and it's horrible, and that'll help dry ice. And John Favreau says, and yeah, hey, in the morning you can dip them in oil and make hush puppies.
I was
I'm
laughing
like,
very
don't
hard.
do that, but that is funny.
No, that was a fantastic scene. No, when he makes the kid breakfast, there's hash browns
For
that he's
anyone who
making.
doesn't have a scrotum, that can be a problem. Yes, not pleasant. Never tried cornstarch myself, but you know, talcum powder will do it.
We have a product called anti-monkey butt.
Anti-monkey butt, huh?
It's just a powder, it truly is, but it's
But
called anti-monkey butt.
I don't think you necessarily need a scrotum to suffer the horrors of swamp crotch,
okay,
or swamp ass, I guess.
Those who have breastages, have underboob, and
underboob sweats gotta, oh god, that's gotta suck.
Not the best, not the best. But no, when I watched this movie, the things that I like, it was very interesting, this movie compared to Mostly Marta in the food category, because they both were beautiful in how they executed, like showing the cooking of the meal and like the delicate, this and that. But like Mostly Marta never made me hungry per se. It made me respect it very much. It made me excited to see the process of food and how it can be, an art type of thing. This one made me hungry. And even though most of it is stuff I would never eat.
Even though you're not eating pork.
Well, I mean, I don't like bread. I don't eat sandwiches. I don't like bread. Like everything about a po. What is that? Yes, everything. Like nothing about that is intriguing to me. I don't like bread. I don't like meats. But the thing that I could get behind is it's home cooking without being home cooking. Like, this is accessible food. I think that's for me the difference is, like, I know what a panini press looks like. I've had a panini, so I can come back to that, like, that grilled, crispy, buttery, crust and the I like hummus, but like, all the good stuff inside. Like, so that's
why it's important to make friends with vegans, because they always have hummus.
Yes, we do. I have 2 brands.
I will say, vegans have the most aesthetically attractive food. Like, the color range on most vegans food plates of food is just like
so we were ordering currently so I leave for Louisville in a couple weeks, and by the time you listen to this, I will have long been back from Louisville.
Yeah.
But I leave for Louisville in a couple weeks, and we're planning the menus for everything. And the nice thing about establishments now is, for the most part, especially the ones like, you know, that you're doing banquet orders, are gonna have like the gluten-free labeled. So you can find the V for vegetarian, you can find the GF for gluten-free, you can find the VE for vegan and things like that. And it's really great. Except there was a dessert menu, and nothing on the dessert menu had anything next to it, except one thing said vegetarian cheesecake, and it had a VE next to it. And we were just like, okay, if that one is being called out, then are they like hiding meat products in all of these other, and then we're like, are they getting confused between vegetarian and vegan? Are they thinking because there's probably egg in all of these? So like my colleague and I are like racking our minds as to like what could possibly be happening and what could be safe, you know, on this menu to get for our friends. And so when we had a meeting with the dude, and went ahead and asked, I was like, so I was very nice that you labeled everything, but however, you did not label desserts. And at first I would think
the most important part of the meal.
But you're thinking like none of them are going to have meat, and you would only need to say and so he truly said, he's like, well, shoot. He goes, it's a typo. He goes, he's like, it was a brand new menu that was printed up on like 3 weeks ago. Brand new. He goes, it has gone through so many eyes and so many things. It's not supposed to say vegetarian cheesecake. It's supposed to say vegan cheesecake. So that, because everything is vegetarian as a dessert, that is vegan.
Broadly,
but it said
unless
vegetarian cheesecake, and it had the VE next to it. So we were like, vegetarian, and that's why we thought they. So, anyways, yes, beautiful thing. Long, stupid-winded story, but that is what's happening. We decided to go with the regular cheesecake. Because we don't have any vegans.
So you were talking about a fatherly moment in the movie that you liked.
The child, Percy, burns one of the Cubano sandwiches. And says, kind of callously.
Now, let's provide a little bit of context. This is the very beginning. They just fixed up the truck. They got some help from some of Robert Downey Jr.'s.
Did you understand that Spanish, by the way?
Some of it, yeah.
Did he say, if you guys help us, we'll give you the greatest sandwich, and if you don't, we're going to call immigration? Is that what he said?
Well, I didn't catch that. No. He just said, if you help us out, we'll give you some food and beer.
Okay.
I didn't. I'm not fluent in Spanish, so I caught some of it. I got the gist of it, but I don't think he threatened to call.
I was like,
or anything,
because I went, holy crap! And Jeremy looked at me, and I'm like, they didn't have the right. And the way I was like, I misinterpreted the last sentence, because I heard, hey, you guys help us and we'll make you this, or we'll call it immigration. I was like, I hope that's not what he said.
No, I'm very confident he didn't say that. But anyway, there's a bunch of dock workers working in the warehouse and stuff, and they need help getting the stoves and stuff into the van. And they say, hey, if you help us get the stoves and stuff into the food truck, we'll make you some free food and beers. So that's what they're doing in this scene. They're making the sandwiches for the dock workers who help them out. Loading dock. They're not on a wharf or anything, but yeah.
And so they have and so Percy is helping, and he's getting into it, and he's on the panini press, whatever that thing is called, making sure that the sandwiches are perfect golden brown, and one of them burns.
The cheese is melted.
Yes. And one of them burns, and
Percy's, it's not
like black. Yeah, it's just singed.
Yeah.
It's a little charry,
but it's not golden brown. It's a little charred, yeah.
Yeah. Not golden brown. And so Percy says, it's not like they're paying for it anyway. Why can't, we serve it? And Jon Favreau is like, whoa, boy, we need to have a little chat outside. And I agree, have a little chat outside. But he goes outside, and instead of explaining why you shouldn't be so callous towards another person, or that it's not about the money right now. These people helped us. They did something great for us. I'm not going to do anything less for them. Instead of making it a moment about what the child was thinking when he said that, because it could have been very off the cuff, like they're not paying for it. Like that's, really get him to understand that, yeah, because a 10-year-old can be like that. Sure. I mean,
it's a teachable moment.
It's a teachable moment, but it's a teachable moment for so many different reasons. Then Jon Favreau's character says, and I'm sorry, we just watched this movie and I so much forget his name. Carl. How can I? Carl. What a dumb name.
Carl Casper.
Carl Casper. Yes. Anyways, so Carl says, he just talks about himself and he goes, I love this. This is what I love. And I wanted to share what I love with you. And I think that if you try, you'll love this too. And so we only put out our best. And he gives him a lecture about how much cooking means to him and how he thinks that if you just...
But not just that it means a lot to him, but why? Because he talks about being able to touch other people
yes,
through the medium of this particular work.
Right. And he said, and yes, he does talk about that. And then but it just, and then at the end of it, he says, so do you understand why we didn't serve that to the guy? And he goes, yes, chef. And he goes, all right, let's get back in there. And he gets into the yes, chef, of course, chef type of like respect that you do in a kitchen, which I think that was not the moment that the child should have said yes, chef, but
yeah, that feels like when a child's like, yes, sir, sorry, sir, like I'm afraid of you.
Yeah.
The response may be a little uncomfortable, but I really dug the way Carl, who's not a bad person, not even a bad father, just not great at it. I thought his approach here was really great, and not what I was expecting him to say, but I really loved the way he handled this particular situation, relating it to himself and his son and something they can do together and why, and not only how it relates to them, but how it relates to other people, instead of, well, that's a selfish asshole thing for you to say there, boyo. I thought it was really, really well written, really well performed. But the yes, chef, that
yeah, it
came off as a little weird to me.
It felt more like what you said, like the yes sir, like, oh, you're gonna smack me and I'm now afraid.
You're gonna stab me with a knife.
Yeah, rather than I'm gonna step up and I'm gonna feel very like, yeah, I'm owning that I am in your kitchen.
I get it, and
you're my chef. It just
I've wanted nothing more than to do this kind of stuff with my dad. So
it didn't match the yes chef part.
Yeah. But I still liked the way, as a character, I liked the way he parented. And I also, another fun parenting moment is at the end of that same day, John Leguizamo and Jon Favreau are kicking back with their beers, and John Leguizamo gives one to the kid too. He's like, "Dad, can I?" He's like, "You can have a sip." And he goes, glug. Oh, and it's like, yeah. It tastes like piss, doesn't it? He's like, now you remember that the next time your friends invite you out for beers. I'm like, you know what? Because he'll probably remember that.
It's funny. Yeah.
Percy will remember this.
I liked that moment too. Yeah. It's good to have friends like John Leguizamo, because he just literally holds down the fort. He never leaves the kitchen. Unless he's coming to Miami to be in another kitchen. That's his entire thing. He's like, you go walk the streets, go get some beignets.
Well, when you're God tier awesome like Jon Favreau, how can you do anything but? So as we're approaching the end of the podcast, let's wrap up. So they get home, and Sofia Vergara is also working in the taco truck, because who can stand
resist
to be more than 5 feet away from a hulking specimen of man like Jon Favreau? And so Oliver Platt comes up to the truck, and the food critic, and he's like, Carl, can I talk to you? And he says, okay, so this food that you're serving in the taco truck is phenomenal, but I'm not going to write about it. He's like, okay, well, yeah, did I did yell at you in public. He's like, well, no, that's not the reason. He says, I want to invest in you, and I can't ethically, I can't write about stuff that I have money in, which is a wonderful touch. I think that's great.
It is.
And he says, well, look, here's the thing. I sold my food blog for a lot of money, and I bought a restaurant, and I want you in it. And it's like, wow,
everything's coming up roses. The thing that I liked though about not just his I can't write about you because of that, but he also says it's a hell of a story. And in my head, I'm like, that's kind of a good selling point, that it's like, because they had this huge feud and everything. I'm like, that's a that like kind of brings it back
that
to
food critic and the guy on the internet, they're in the business with it. I gotta go check this out.
I gotta check this. Yeah. So I'm like, I also love the fact that I love
the fact that Jon Favreau's character Carl doesn't really know much about the internet. And when he first tweeted at Oliver Platt, he thought he was emailing him. He thought it was a private message. He didn't realize he was calling him out to the entire world. And so he's talking to Oliver Platt at this point, and he's like, you know, what you said her, and he's like, well, what did you expect was going to happen, man? And he's like, I thought it's like, this is what I do. I thought we were it's performance. We were putting on a show. Yeah, you came at me, right? And I come at you. That's the thing. He's like, I was just sending you a private message. He's like, well, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I like the fact that they handle it like adults. It's, you know, it's really nice to see. It's a very unrealistic film.
Yes.
But you know what? I like it when good things happen to good people and people are happy. And I also generally enjoy movies where your characters are reveling in something that they are truly passionate about and enjoy.
Yeah.
You know,
that's a big deal.
Whether
that's
it's
fun.
food or music or tap or whatever. I enjoy watching good things happen to good people and people enjoying doing what they love to do. So
that is, there you go. Which is why we're so captivating.
That's right. We like just to see, you know, we may not have the largest audience, but really Kelly and I'd be doing this anyway. We're just talking about movies.
I've told people that. We
just added some structure and recorded it.
I tell people, I'm like, this is
watch
just
it's fine.
I'm like, it's just so I can keep in touch with my brother and watch movies, because the older I get, the less I do for myself. So I'm like, this is just me getting to watch movies with my bro. I don't care. I'm having a good time.
I'm glad those who watch and listen, we're glad you're there. We're glad you're enjoying it, and hopefully we're pointing you in the direction of some interesting things to watch as well.
Absolutely. And you know, if you're ever interested in chiming in with themes for us, or even like, oh, I know a good,
although we record these a few months in advance, but
so we'll get to it eventually.
Eventually. 8 months later, we might do your thing.
You know, if there's a indie that, you know, or a Need for Feed, or a, what was the other one? Didn't we do a disaster? Yeah. Hey
disaster
guys,
movies.
Our disaster month was a disaster. If you have another option,
let's see. Worlds Collide and Earthquake. Yeah.
So you have another
fun
option
to talk about, but yeah, I wasn't really that into either of them. So. But anyways, Chef was fun. I enjoyed it.
Chef was fun. It was fun. I enjoyed it. There's nothing really to dislike. It was a nice little 2-hour time that I had. So, you know, thusly ends the Need for Feed month. But that's okay. Movie Mandates continues, and that will continue next month. What comes after November is December, and there's a sequel. I'm so excited about this this topic. So movies that we had no idea had a sequel.
Yeah.
So, brother, you get the first picks. What didn't we know had a sequel?
Well, okay. Kelly, did you know that there's a sequel to The Odd Couple?
What?
Yeah, the Neil Simon play that was
Oh,
made in the movie with Jack. I'm sorry, that's the TV show. Walter Matthau and Jack Lemmon.
yeah.
Yeah, they made it The Odd Couple 2 30
With the
years later with Jack Lemmon and Walter Matthau.
huh,
Yeah, there's a sequel.
all right. Is it called just Odd Couple 2?
It's called The Odd Couple 2. Yeah.
I am flabbergasted.
Yeah, it's not a movie that was something else, and then they just, since they had the license or the IP, because I had a couple of them where I was thinking like American Psycho 2 or
right.
or Carrie 2. Both movies were actually a completely different movie until they rebranded it and reworked it to be a sequel.
Not what was that
Odd
other
Couple
one?
2
Clover 10 Clover Lane was like that, or 10 Cloverfield Lane.
Lane, I think, was originally something else. I think Cloverfield Paradox was also supposed to be something else before they brought it in. But yeah, I really wanted to do something that was actually intended to be a sequel to the original, rather than it's like, oh hey, we have this license, let's slap it on there and get some name recognition. So
I'm gonna have to dive deep now
yeah,
for mine, because this is pretty
30
that's
years,
pretty intense, this one.
30 years later they did a sequel to The Odd Couple for some reason.
Well, it took them how long did it take for Top Gun?
Like 30 years.
So maybe it's gonna be great.
Yeah, who knows? I heard Top Gun Maverick. Yeah, I heard it was good.
It is good.
I don't care about Top Gun. I didn't care for
I
the
didn't
first
see the
one,
original,
so it's like,
so.
yeah, I'm like, it's fine. I just wasn't that excited for it.
There's enough flashback in Maverick for the parts you need to know to catch you up. I also happen to be sitting with someone who knows the first one very well, so there were some pausing moments of, now let me explain why that's important.
Yeah.
So well, that's exciting. All right, so The Odd Couple 2, and if you would like to watch with us, then check out in the description where it is currently streaming and or available to rent. So until then, you can watch Movie Mandates. I need to sit up now. You can watch Movie Mandates on YouTube, listen to it in podcast form on iTunes, and like we were just chatting with you, like and subscribe, ring bells, and engage with us, because that's going to grow the audience, because we are, as has been noted, captivating. So tell your friends and your parents. So and with that, so thank you very much. I am Kelly. You can follow me on the Twitters at @GetEisencard.
And I'm Andrew. Follow me at the same place at Andrew Eisen.
And we hope you all enjoyed this episode of Movie Mandates. And we will be back next month with another mandated movie. Bye.
Bye.